So it looks like finally, Ofcom is actually starting to move, especially on GB News and TalkTV. Now, what has been going on here? And more importantly, why has it taken Ofcom so long to actually start moving against GB News and, of course, Talk TV, especially in this regard when it comes to sitting politicians presenting shows? And to be honest, the big part of the problem is that the Ofcom rules are old. They are very, very old. And it's actually probably one of the most common problems we actually see in a lot of these things when it comes to regulations, not only just things like rules and regulations when it comes to sort of advertising, but also when it comes to regulations about future technology. We saw this only just recently with what sort of social media with the past couple of general elections that we've gone through. So there's a ton of stuff in regulations that have not just caught up with the times. And in this case, these Ofcom rules and regulations pretty much only apply and still only apply predominantly as if the BBC and ITV are the only game in town. Because that's when they were written, that it was just the BBC and the ITV, and that was it. And of course, that's no longer the case. So they have to really start really overhauling these rules and regulations and play catch up. So before we get into talking more about this, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and a notification link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And of course, as always, there is the YouTube thank you button, and of course, there is the Pony Club down below as well. So, what are actually the rules for sitting MPs when it comes to this? Well, to begin with, it all comes down to impartiality. Now, a sitting MP, again, according to Ofcom's rules, a sitting MP cannot be a news broadcaster. They cannot be a presenter of a news show. Mainly someone who would be like reading, the 6 o'clock news. You can't have Jacob Rees-Mogg pop up and just start reading the 6 o'clock news. That would be seen very, very much as something that was very, very incredibly impartial. However, there is an exception to this. And it is, of course, allows for MPs to take part in current affairs programs. Because, hey, they're MPs, current affairs, they're sort of probably involved with this anyway. And of course, it's a good way for MPs to sort of, interact with the public. However, increasingly, very much over this time, there has been an incredible blur between what is a news program and a current affairs program. Now, if you were to ask someone like Jacob Rees-Mogg or Nadine Dorries or again Lee Anderson, all people who have very, very recently taken on some very lucrative contracts from Talk TV and GB News, they would say that they are presenting a current affairs program. So they are fine, that they are sitting in the nice realm of we're okay, we can present this program, no problem. However, the problems do then become what and how they present their shows. And this is really become the dividing line, because at what point does it split and it meld into these? One of the things that the complaints that Ofcom is looking for, at least the current two they're looking at, is of course Jacob Rees-Mogg when he read out the news announcement about Donald Trump when he got found guilty recently of the sexual assault allegation. So that is something Ofcom are looking for. I think there's about 40 complaints looking into that. And the other one that they're looking into is Alex Salmond. When he came out and said that the party he used to be part of, like I say, he's now part of the Alba party, when he said, are the SNP holding back independence? There have been complaints about him sort of presenting that, again, current affairs program, but portrayed as a bit of news. So there's this whole question really comes into it of impartiality. And is this, really up to standards? But part of the problem and part of why it seems to have taken Ofcom so long is not because that people haven't been complaining, it's because their rules and guidances are so old that, as we said at the beginning, it only really applies as if there was only the BBC and ITV and nothing else existed. But they are looking into this. They are carrying out research because they want to know audiences' reactions, and they want to gather that research, which they have started now doing. I think they're going to be publishing their report probably next year, which will hopefully change these rules, or at least update these rules to get with the times. It's doubtful whether these will get through, though, because obviously the biggest beneficiaries to these taking on, shall we say, these shows have been Conservative MPs, and of course, who are going to be targeted by this. Mostly, it will be Conservative MPs, but of course, let's not forget you've got people like, I think the only one I can really think of at the moment is maybe David Lammy on LBC. Is the only probably prominent Labour politician I can think with his own news show. That's the only one I can really think of. There might be others out there, but he's the only one I can think of. And he's been doing his LBC show he's been doing it for quite a long time. I can't remember when he originally started, but he's been doing it for quite a long time. So what happens to him? But ultimately, like I say, this is going to be affecting Conservatives because, like I say, obviously the big ones recently, Jacob Rees-Mogg, Nadine Dorries, and of course Lee Anderson, himself also in trouble for doing a spot on the parliamentary roof for his own show. We'll see what happens. But this will be, I think, an interesting time. Obviously, this will be, I think, very, very much resisted by the Conservatives on this front because, like I say, they are predominantly the beneficiaries. Obviously, this is only, shall we say, three of the crazies. But then again, the Conservative Party might go, well, tell you what, it gets us a chance to get rid, probably even more of Jacob Rees-Mogg, certainly Dean Dorries, and maybe even, push Lee Anderson out a bit. Maybe they might pass these regulations. We'll see. But it is difficult because it has become down that dividing line of this is news, this is the current affairs program. At what point does the line get a bit, wavy on that point, on that front? And it is a bit difficult because you can watch a Nadine Dorries show or even the Jacob Rees-Mogg show, and at what point are they, crossing that line? Is the impartiality coming into it at that point? We'll see what happens, but this is something I'm interested to watch and see how this develops because, like I say, these rules very much need updating. But as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.